Hi, I'm Cathy Kelley for AfterBuzz TV, and we are joined by Tom Riley, who is the star of Da Vinci's Demons. He is Leonardo da Vinci himself. So going into season 2, season 1 already established, I know a lot of people who are planning to binge watch season 1 because they haven't watched it yet. So just very briefly describe your part in the show.
Describe my part in season 1 or season 2? I mean, it's it's a monster. Like he is a multifaceted man. There's a million different things that are going on at once with Leonardo, and that's what's so exciting about playing him, is that you get to play the passionate genius, and you get to play the swordsman. He was an ambidextrous swordsman. You get to play the kind of the passion and the rage, and then the misery and the emotion, and then the fun and the wit and the charm. It's a big part.
He's very complex.
He's very complex.
And I know that you had to learn a lot of stuff.
To be honest, I just said complex, and we say complex in England, not complex. So I feel bad about that.
Can you do an American accent?
Not now.
Putting you on the spot?
Yeah, not going to happen.
Okay. So you did have to learn a lot of stuff for this role, from training yourself to be ambidextrous to just studying up on Leonardo da Vinci. So how much work or research did you put into it, do you think?
Oh man, before the first season I did loads. Like I went to exhibitions that were on in London of his anatomy work, where he used to, he dug up corpses and he cut them in half and filled them with wax so he could work out how they worked and draw the insides. So I did all that. I read books about him, went to read his notebooks, his own journals, all that stuff. And then you kind of get to the set, and because it's David Goya's world and it's a crazy fantastical world, you sort of throw it away and hope that foundation for his personality is there, you know.
So there is a huge chunk of time that no one knows what happened in Da Vinci's life. So was that a challenge for you, or kind of a blessing in disguise, because you got to create a lot of, you know, what you thought it might have been? Yeah,
well, this season particularly, like 27 to 32, he vanished and no one knows where he went, and there's nothing recorded to say where he went. So David thought, why didn't he what if he went to the New World? What if he went to Peru? So that did free us up a bit, because there's nothing to, it's very unlikely, but there's nothing to disprove it, and certainly there's no way of saying what he would have done had he been there. So yeah, we kind of go wild with that.
And I've heard that David writes or has this story lined out in advance. Season 2, he knew, you know, going into season 1 what was going to happen. Does he give you any tidbits or ideas of what was going to come?
Yeah, I knew. When at the end of episode 2 of season 1, you see a map on the wall of South America. And Leonardo says at the end, Leonardo says, you know what, I don't know what that is, but we'll just have to discover it. And I remember like reading a blog or something online at the time where someone said, hey, you know, like I'd watch a show where Leonardo goes to South America, but that's not going to happen. And I remember thinking, yeah, it is, because David had said, you know, if we do season 2, that's the plan. Yeah. So he does kind of mete out a little bit of ideas. He gives you very broad strokes, so you know what to withhold and what to give out, and but not too much. But I think he knows like 15 seasons worth of story.
He wasn't going to give that away, but it kind of seemed like he did. So do you often read fan blogs or feedback on your show online?
I don't, but I have friends who forward me them, going, someone has said the meanest thing about you, look, that kind of stuff. Really nice stuff. And my mum's a big fan of telling me what stuff says. So I try and avoid it, but somehow it always finds its way through my eyes and into my brain and then into my soul.
That's so sad. So you guys have a great fan base, and I'm sure you do get a lot of fan interaction. So what's the best thing that you've heard feedback-wise from a fan? Oh man,
I tell you what, we did not expect the passion of the fans on this show, and that's been what's really interesting. And of course, when we started it was a show for the UK and the US, and we hadn't sold it to 150 countries, or I think 130, 40 countries that we've got it in now. And so we get chased by tourists in London, sort of, you know, Japanese people taking photos of our shopping bags, and like we Blake and I, who plays Riario, were in a supermarket in Wales. And this particular supermarket has see-through carrier bags, so like plastic see-through bags. And they wanted for a photo with us, and we said, yeah, of course, and they loved the show. And they started taking photos of our shopping. And there's that moment where you think, what have I bought? There might be something really embarrassing, because they can see it through the bag. I can't remember what it was, but there was something. Probably just a lot of toilet paper. Just too much toilet.
Why do you need that much toilet paper?
Too much for one man. But generally people just go crazy. what was great at Comic-Con is people asked really interesting questions, not just sort of wild, broad questions, but questions you're like, wow, you've thought about this.
Yeah.
That's when you know people are investing.
They're such big fans of the show that they have these things that sometimes you might have not even thought of.
Yeah, all the time, and that's it's kind of great. And it's funny, you don't want to take on board too much of what fans say, and then say, well, because actually invariably they don't want what they think they want, and I as a fan don't necessarily want what I think I want. I like to be surprised, so you kind of take it in bits, and and take on as much as you can respectfully without being too self-indulgent with it.
So you're doing a great job, obviously, at Leonardo da Vinci. But do you have any aspirations behind the camera now that you've seen this whole production?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I love that side of things. I love being in the writer's room and the edit, and there are so many. It's crazy that anything ever works out good, really, because there is from the idea to the screen, like so many things can go wrong, so many things can slip, so many chances for human error or mistakes. So I kind of like being. I would love the chance to shepherd it a bit more and just sort of say, how about this, and just have a bit more control. But really, no one has any control in Hollywood over anything. There's always someone who tells you what to do.
Controlled chaos,
Yeah,
kind of.
it is, exactly.
So moving into this season, what was your favorite thing to film? Do you have a favorite memory from set this season?
This season. Yeah. There's so many spoilers. We're giving loads of spoilers.
Trying to get them out of you.
Yeah, you are. You're doing a good job. I do know what. There's lots of amazing stuff in Peru, and in the New World, because suddenly you go from a show in the first season where you're surrounded by Welsh people dressed as Florentine Italian extras, and suddenly they had to ship in a load of South American essays because there weren't any in the UK, in Wales or in Swansea. There weren't enough. So suddenly you're on set surrounded by 100 people from Colombia and Mexico, and all dressed in tribal dress, and you just think, this, when I signed my contract for this, I did not think at any point that I'd be listening to bongos at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's incredible.
Yeah. Have you ever played the bongo?
I played the bongo. Me and Matthew McConaughey went down to the beach and just got naked and just played the bongos.
All right.
All right.
Awesome. So what are you also most excited for fans to see this season? Without giving too much away.
I think the best thing about this season is that we throw characters together from the first season who you might have loved in different ways, and we just put them in weird configurations that you wouldn't have necessarily seen. Suddenly you see all the characters thrown out of their comfort zones and having to reevaluate who they are and how they approach the world and how they approach each other. I think that makes it's cool. There's some cool interactions.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And if you guys at home are watching this interview, then please watch the other interviews that we did today for Da Vinci's Demons. And thanks for watching.
I'm going to go play the bongos with you.